Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, sold out. A major reason why they have waited more than 2 hours to play this game. Certainly the Yankees don't want to risk losing the 56,000 or so paid admissions. Of course, there were some opportunities perhaps later in the year to make up this game as part of a day-night doubleheader. The Red Sox do come back in September, but they had the forecast that told them after 9 o'clock they thought they'd be able to get this one started, and so far that forecast appears to be on the money. One caveat to that is that we are also told there might be a little more rain that's going to come through here in about an hour, but they anticipate that they will be able to play through that rain when it arrives. Joe Torre celebrated his 62nd birthday yesterday with a come-from-behind win over the Detroit Tigers. His Yankees are 60-35. They have the best record in the American League, and they're only 3 percentage points behind the Atlanta Braves, who are 61-35 for having the best record in all of Major League Baseball. The lead is 3. The Baltimore Orioles are a distant third. And it's a Yankee team that, as you mentioned, Jerry, the starting pitching hasn't been as good as it usually is. Roger Clemens is on the disabled list right now. Pettit was injured much of the year. The healthy guys have been up and down. Some of their other key players haven't been all that terrific, and yet here they are where they usually are.
Yeah, the offense, Sean, has really been the story this year. First in average in the league, first in runs scored, second in hits, first in home runs. They are really the Bronx Bombers again. And of course, first in walks, eighth in stolen bases, and first in on-base percentage. So, you know, with Giambi, the emergence of Soriano to become one of the top players in the league, and all the other guys, Jeter, this has been some kind of offense. And actually, Joe Torre has had to manage differently than he has in the past. He hasn't had to manufacture runs, but the pitching has been a little bit shaky with some injuries to it, but it's still a very deep staff and should get better as the season goes on.
And even though they are first in the league in all of those categories that you saw, they weren't satisfied with the offensive output of their platoon in right field, Shane Spencer and John Vanderwall, so they went out and spent big money to acquire Raul Mondesi, who is not in the lineup tonight. He's been a little bit banged up the last couple of days, but they don't anticipate that he'll be out for long.
They actually sent him to the hospital last night from that collision he had. I believe it was up in Toronto, and or no, actually it was Cleveland, and he's still being bothered by that and had to actually go to the hospital for it. So not in the lineup tonight. He doesn't hit Pedro. He may not have been in there anyway.
The Yankees take the field, and this game is going to begin about 2 hours and 15 minutes later than expected. It seems like every time the Red Sox come to New York to take on the Yankees, they experience one of these lengthy rain delays. The Yankees did, within the last year or so, spend about $1 million on a state-of-the-art drainage system, so the field should be in very good shape. They like to brag about how the field drains virtually instantly. Time now for our national anthem. Well, the big ballpark in the Bronx sold out. It doesn't seem as though many people decided to bypass it or leave early because of the rain. A full house on hand on a warm and humid night. It was a very hot and muggy day here in New York with the temperature around 90 degrees and high humidity. We thought with this rain coming through it might dry out the air a little bit and cool things off, but so far that has not happened. Let's give you a look at the Red Sox starting lineup they'll send up against Mike Mussina. The Red Sox are 56-37 for the year, winners of 3 straight. The lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Johnny Damon in center field, Ray Sanchez the second baseman, Nomar Garcia Parra the shortstop in batting third. The cleanup hitter, left fielder Manny Ramirez. Jason Varitek is the catcher. Shea Hillenbrand is in 411 games against the Yankees. He's the third baseman, hitting 6th. Then the DH, Brian Daubach. Trot Nixon is the right fielder. And Jose Offerman The first baseman will hit ninth against the man they call Moose, Mike Mussina.
12-3 on the season. A very high ERA for Mike, though, of 4.54. This is his 19th start. He has allowed 19 home runs. That is the most on the Yankee ball club. An opponent's hitting 244 off Mussina. Against the Red Sox, as Sean mentioned, a perfect 3-0 this season. He's worked a total of 19 2/3 innings, but he has allowed 9 earned runs against Boston. And in matchups against Pedro Martinez, in 2 starts in his career, a 1-1 record with a 1.69 ERA against Pedro Martinez.
And the defense behind Mike Mussina tonight for New York. Rondell White is the left fielder. Bernie Williams in center, and Shane Spencer for the ailing Raul Mondesi in right. He had a big hit in their win yesterday against Detroit. Robin Ventura is the third baseman. Derek Jeter at shortstop. Alfonso Soriano at second. Nick Johnson at first, as Jason Giambi will be the DH tonight. And Jorge Posada behind the plate. Marvin Hudson, Kerwin Danley, Charlie Relaford, and Dana DeMuth, the umpires. DeMuth, the crew chief. 2 hours and 17 minutes the delay right now. Some final work to be done to the surface as the bat boys out with a towel to wipe the mud off home plate. Posada wants to make sure his battery mate can see it. And at long last, here we go, friends. Start of a big weekend for the Red Sox and the Yankees. Johnny Damon at 297. 6 homers and 43 runs batted in. Officially a 2 hour and 17 minute delay, and flashbulbs popping all over Yankee Stadium as Mussina delivered the first pitch of ball. .72 degrees and very muggy at game time. Damon rips one foul, upper deck, first base side. They just announced a change in the umpire rotation. It's Kerwin Danley behind the plate and Marvin Hudson at first. The 1-1 to Damon. Sliced out of play, and certainly Jerry would help the Red Sox if Damon could get out of what is now a very long slump.
He's got a little 4-game hitting streak going, but not a lot of hits in those 4 games. But he put him back at the top of the lineup to Grady Little. That's where he wants him, and they hope he can get started certainly in this series.
Yeah, he has 1 hit in each of those 4 games in the streak. He's actually at 267 during the streak. So even though he's hitting 4 games in a row, his average has come down a little bit. For the 1-2 pitch, out of play to the left. Overall, Johnny's 5 for his last 34. And over the last month, he's at 183.
Red Sox will see the fastball, the knuckle curve, a changeup, and a splitter from Mussina.
He struck him out. Looked like a high floater. And Damon missed it for the first out of the ball game.
High changeup. You're right, Sean. That time for Mussina. That's not where he wants it, but off speed enough to fool Johnny Damon.
One out. Chagrin Damon in the dugout, and the batter Ray Sanchez. He's hit in 5 straight. Late swing at a fastball. Sanchez with the hitting streak as his season average at 324, a homer and 22 runs batted in. He's hit 360 since he came off the disabled list on July 11th. Hit hard, base hit. Past the diving Ventura, who is playing even with the bag at third. So that's a 6-game hitting streak for Sanchez, and he's aboard with 1 out here in the first.
And Mussina threw that first fastball right by Sanchez, who is a first ball fastball hitter. Gets a fastball on the second pitch, but it stays inside, and Sanchez whips it right by Robin Ventura at third base. Here's Garcia Parra.
Check swing, comebacker. Mussina's a terrific fielder. He threw a low one to Soriano, who turned the double play. Mussina is a great athlete, and when you hit one to him, he's going to field it cleanly. 1-4-3. It ends the inning after half inning. No score. You're watching the Fox 25 Red Sox television network. Heading to the bottom of the first, no score. Let's take a look at the New York Yankee lineup for tonight's game, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Alfonso Soriano having a tremendous season, the second baseman leading off. Derek Jeter at shortstop. The DH tonight is Jason Giambi, riding a 9-game hit streak. Bernie Williams, the center fielder and cleanup hitter. Robin Ventura at third base. Jorge Posada catching and hitting sixth. Then Rondell White in left. Nick Johnson at first. And the right fielder Shane Spencer hitting ninth against Pedro Martinez, who's been on a roll of late.
11-2, the 2.66 ERA, second best in the American League. 149 strikeouts, is first in the league, leading Clemens in that category. And he has faced the Yankees twice this year. A no decision and a win against New York. A total of 12 1/3 innings, 5 earned runs allowed on the season for Pedro against New York.
And the defense behind him. Manny Ramirez is the left fielder. Johnny Damon in center field, and Trot Nixon in right. Shea Hillenbrand at third. Nomar Garcia Parra the shortstop. Ray Sanchez at second. Jose Hoffman at first. And Jason Varitek behind the plate. Only Anaheim has made fewer errors than the Red Sox, 54 this year. So here's Soriano to lead off, having a sensational year at .318, 25 homers and 61 runs batted in. He had a leadoff home run yesterday in their win over Detroit. He's hit 5 home runs in his last 6 games. First pitch from Pedro. Popped out of play to the right. Soriano is 6th in the American League in batting average, 3rd in homers, 6 behind the league leader Alex Rodriguez of Texas. 2nd in multiple hit games, 1st in the league in total bases, 1st in runs scored, 2nd in hits, 1st in stolen bases with 25, 1st in doubles. Other than that, he's had a lousy year. Pedro took a little too much time for him. 1 ball, 1 strike to count.
One thing that hasn't changed, he's only got 15 walks and 93 strikeouts and still able to put up those kind of numbers.
And Pedro hopes he's on the verge of strikeout number 94. He's 2nd in the league in strikeouts. Mike Cameron of Seattle, the only American League hitter with more. Cameron's whiff an eye popping 102 times. The 1-2 pitch popped up right side. Sanchez waving Nixon away. 1 out.
One thing to watch for tonight, Pedro Martinez between starts was doing some running in the outfield, accidentally collided with Brian Nelson and jammed his right thumb. And before the ball game today, before batting practice, he was out just playing some light catches to make sure that thing was okay. So he's still being bothered a little bit by a sore right thumb, but he said it'd be okay to make the start tonight. We'll have to watch that as the game goes on.
1 out, bases empty, no score. Bottom of the first. Here's Derek Jeter at .308. 12 homers and 44 runs batted in. Fastball runs inside. Again, we do not have access to a radar gun here at Yankee Stadium, but just looking at those 2 pitches to Jeter, looks like Pedro has better velocity in the first inning tonight than he has ordinarily this season. He tends to throw in the mid-80s, high 80s in the first inning, and seems to warm up to a higher velocity.
Remember now, his last 2 starts against Detroit and Toronto, only 5 innings in the start against Detroit, 6 last time against Toronto, so he should be strong for this outing.
With a lot of rest in between. The 3-0 pitch is a strike.
Yeah, that's good. That's good live fastball there, Sean, on the 3-1 count. Jason
Giambi on deck. Jeter had been scuffling for the last 4 or 5 days. Broke out of it yesterday with 2 hits in their win over Detroit. Into the upper deck in right. Always an electric atmosphere here at Yankee Stadium. Doesn't matter what time of the season these two teams play. There's just a noise and an energy level in this stadium that you rarely experience anywhere else. And with 2.5 hours or so to warm up even more for the game, I think you may see even more demonstrations of fan behavior on an animated scale than you would ordinarily.
You know, I was surprised, Sean, reading the New York papers. They consider this a very, very big series, and you don't really hear that very often from the Yankee crowd.
Breaking ball missed by a wide margin. Rarely do you see Pedro miss the strike zone by that much. It's interesting, too, to hear the talk from the Red Sox players. A couple of them have offered quotes along the lines of, well, the reason the Yankees are going out and improving their team is they're concerned about us, where we're comfortable and confident with the team we have, and we can play the rest of the season with the team we have.
Red Sox players also know that they are a better team the Yankees are with the additions that they've made. They certainly know that, but they're very confident in their own ability. And I was stunned today reading the New York papers. You know, usually they save that for September, but they consider this very, very big for the Yankees.
Jeter at first. Here's Jason Giambi riding a 9-game hitting streak. He takes strike 1. 322 for Giambi, 4th in the American League in batting average, also 4th in homers with 24, and 2nd in runs batted in with his 78. Low, an off-speed pitch. 1-1. Giambi only 2 RBIs behind A-Rod, the league leader.
Derek Jeter at first base has stole 21 bases and only been caught 1 time. That's incredible.
He always has a tremendous success ratio in stolen bases. In the dirt, another one way out of the strike zone. It skips away from Varitek. A wild pitch gets Jeter to second. Well, he missed by a mile with the curveball for ball 4 to Jeter. That changeup not close. You wonder if it's the thumb you were just talking about.
Keep in mind, Sean, what I was talking about. I mean, that would certainly have an effect. And if his location is going to be off by that much, certainly there's a problem there.
We were talking about the success ratio for Jeter. Last year he stole 27 bases, was caught 3 times. The year before he had 22 steals and was caught 4 times.
That's a smart base runner.
Very smart. Smart all-around player. The 2-1 to Giambi. Good change up there. 2-2. Giambi got off to a slow start here in New York, but over his last 57 games he's driven in 58 runs, averaging more than an RBI per game since May 12th. He also leads the American League in on-base percentage. Always walks a lot. His on-base percentage right now .434. Another change up in the dirt and another full count. Bernie Williams on deck.
The game plan for the Yankees against Pedro always has been make him work very hard early in the ball game, build up the high pitch count so they can get him out of that ball game early.
He's thrown 15 pitches already. Strike 3. Got a very close pitch on the outside corner around the knees. Giambi didn't like it. Barked briefly. Borderline at best, but it goes Pedro's way as Kerwin Danley punches out Giambi for the 2nd out of the inning.
Well, that's certainly a good sign for Pedro. If he's able to get that call all night long, it may be a long night for Yankee hitters. Giambi didn't like it. It's one of those nasty outside fastballs, very close to the outside corner.
So 2 outs, Jeter at second, no score at bottom of the 1st. Here's Bernie Williams, the switch hitter, hitting .310. Swings and foul tips, a changeup. 11 homers, 52 runs batted in for Bernie. He had a 13-game hitting streak snapped on Tuesday. That looked to be a better pitch than the one that was strike 3 to Giambi.
Yeah, flip a coin right now. The one to Giambi with 2 strikes, he calls a strike. This particular pitch, the same one, and you're right, Sean, might have been better.
A ball and a strike on Williams. Swing and a miss.
Bernie's only hitting 174 in his career against Pedro, but he does have 3 home runs.
Not much of a lead for Jeter. Garciaparra holding him close. Wicked breaking ball for strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts, and Pedro's out of the first inning unscathed. After 1 in New York, no score. Momentary control difficulty for Pedro in the first, but he struck out 2 of the best hitters in the game back-to-back. Jason Giambi and Bernie Williams to end the Yankee first. Manny Ramirez begins the second. Ramirez, Varitek, and Hillenbrand coming up against Mike Mussina. Big hack and a miss. This is a homecoming for Manny. Spent his adolescent years growing up in Washington Heights, not far from Yankee Stadium. .333 for Ramirez, 12 homers and 45 runs batted in. He's cooled off a little bit after that stretch in which he had 7 hits and 8 at bats. He's 0 for his last 5. After 0 for 3 in Tampa yesterday, he took a breaking ball for strike 2. And he has enjoyed his homecomings in the past. In 50 career games here, 15 home runs. Mussina gave up a hit in the first to Sanchez, but Garciaparra grounded into an inning-ending double play, so he faced the minimum 3 hitters.
Nice to see Manny staying in there against Mussina. Yesterday he got hit twice, once in the back and the next time very close to the head, right off the top of the shoulder, caromed off the helmet. And Manny was not real pleased about that when I spoke to him this afternoon in the clubhouse.
Esteban Yan said it was unintentional, but the Red Sox really didn't care. I think they've had enough of the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. I mean, the Devil Rays response every time somebody has a good game against them seems to be, well, let's just go hit the guy the next day.
Well, they'll be in town next week.
There are also a couple of Red Sox I talked to who thought that the Devil Rays didn't even realize a warning had been issued earlier in the game, because if you remember, Alfonso Marquez, the home plate umpire, did it in about a split second and very casually. Only walked a couple feet out in front of the plate, just kind of pointed into both dugouts and walked back, and if you weren't paying attention, you could have missed it.
Now the other thing too is that Esteban Yan at that point might have been in the clubhouse, not even paying attention to the game, because he's their closer. Usually they come out around the 5th inning.
Some of the Red Sox people think Hal McRae didn't know either. Low 1-2 to Ramirez. High fastball fouled back onto the screen. This is the 12th meeting of the season between the Red Sox and the Yankees. And the Red Sox lead the season series 7-4. Red Sox won 2 out of 3 here at Yankee Stadium in late May and early June, May 31st to June 2nd. Split a 4-game series in late May at Fenway and won 3 out of 4 early in the season at Fenway. Into the upper deck on the right side. They've played 5 one-run games against each other out of the 11 so far, and the Red Sox are 4-1. But you'd have to think right now, Jerry, with the Red Sox bullpen such as it is, if it gets into a close game, battle of bullpens advantage Yankees.
I would have to agree with this, Sean. Stanton right now, he had a tough game yesterday. Rivera's been roughed up a little bit, but they still are strong right now out of that bullpen. Red Sox have had their troubles.
A pop-up. Soriano in shallow right center. 1 out.
Number 33, Jason Garrett. Number 33.
We're in the second inning. No score. If you just joined us, the game delayed 2 hours and 17 minutes by rain. Veritek hitting .277, 6 homers and 32 runs batted in. Jason's put together a 5-game hitting streak. 7 for 17 during the 5 before 12 average.
And he's had a little bit of a problem in his career against Mussina. 1 for 22.
That's just a little bit of a problem.
That's a little bit of a problem. That's one you'd like to change quickly.
Well, these do. I would imagine there are a few other hitters around the American League with numbers resembling Jason's against Mussina.
This is a great way to start off a big series. Have 2 terrific pitchers going in Pedro and Mussina.
Well, there are some others. Some pretty good hitters on that list, too. Kirk Gibson never had a hit against the man they call Moose. Pretty well hit. Left center. Williams on the wet outfield grass makes the running catch. Just a little bit shy of the warning track. That's a very deep part of Yankee Stadium. That's a wall ball at Fenway. Here it's a long out.
Yeah, 399 as you head out toward that Yankee bullpen, and you really have to put it on a line out in that direction, because if it's in the air, there's a pretty good chance Bernie Williams is going to be able to track it down. Now you see that little square out there near the 399. There were some accusations a few years ago that the Yankees were stealing signs from that position and relaying them to the hitters.
There's another square at the other end of their bullpen, it seems, even closer to straightaway center field. No wonder they win all the time. They're cheating.
I didn't believe that theory.
Shea Hillenbrand had his 9-game hitting streak stopped yesterday when he went 0 for 5 in Tampa. And he's in the hole here 0-2. Fans, as usual, into it early. Looking for a 1-2-3 inning and the strikeout. Just missed. Fastball just outside. Two and two now.
That Yankee fan wanted the call. Surprising here in New York.
Wow, you're in full venom already, Jerry. The series has just begun. What, any flashbacks to Greg Nettles?
Well, I mean, you know, we have a 2-hour rain delay, and we've got to sit here and watch every great Yankee moment up on the scoreboard over and over and over and over again. I've had it right up to here, and it's only Friday. Get this picture off the screen.
Well, if you want some Yankee memorabilia, Don Larson is selling some of his stuff from the perfect game.
Is that right?
Yeah. Going to help pay for his grandchildren's college education. The 2-2 again from Mussina. Fastball popped off the mid of Posada back to the backstop. Mussina, 33 years old, a Pennsylvania native, Stanford graduate. Finished his undergraduate degree at Stanford in 3.5 years. Not exactly Mr. Warmth. Smart guy, articulate guy, but not the easiest guy to spend much time chatting with.
They got a couple of tough interviews for pitchers. Rogers always been a little bit difficult, and Mussina very brief with his comments.
It has struck some people in the past as arrogance, teammates and media members. Oh, he's a strike away, the pitch away from the 1-2-3 inning. He has had to throw 18 pitches now. Hillenbrand foul tipped it. And he'll see another one. Shea was going to walk for the first time since late May. That might have been the pitch right there. Here's the 9th pitch of the at-bat. Ooh, that really rattled the catcher, Posada.
Making sure he checks all those bars. Everything's in place as this foul ball rattles right off the side of the face. Jar the teeth, the chin.
Remember Bob Montgomery used to talk about how that was kind of the one that bothered you the most, sort of on the side,
Like
it
the
twisted
side.
it around, rattled your jaw. Strike 3, no doubt about that one. Fastball right down the middle. Second strikeout of the night for Mussina. After an inning and a half, no score. You're watching the Fox 25 Red Sox television network. No score after an inning and a half. I don't know what that gesturing is into the home plate umpire, Kerwin Danley. But now they're ready to go.
Pedro may be wondering, Sean, how long he has between innings. Sometimes with certain TV stations, it's a little bit longer. And you know, obviously he'd sit in the dugout a little bit longer if they had more
Do we
time.
have extra time for commercials tonight?
We don't, but maybe the New York station does.
Why should they get it? Because they're New York? They're special? Our producer Russ Kent assures us that's not true, but it would make sense. No wonder George can afford all these players if he gets extra commercial time on his network. The Yes Network. 256 for Ventura. Change up for a strike, 1-2. 19 homers for Robin and 64 runs batted in. In his first year with New York, he's come over from Shea Stadium, where the last couple of years he played for the Mets. Off the end of the bat, sinking fast in center. Damon has to play it on a hop. Right off the end of the bat, it's the first hit of the night for the Yankees.
And Damon made a heck of a play by smothering that ball to keep it in front of him. If this ball gets by Damon, Ventura, even though he does not have great speed, is going to run a while, probably at least to third base. Damon makes the effort to catch it, but can only make the play on the one bounce. It's going to be a little bit tough for the outfielders to get started tonight. It's been raining a long time, and even though it drains well, it's still wet out there.
So the lead man on for the Yankees. And here's Jorge Posada, one of the best hitting catchers in all of baseball, and hot lately. 18 for his last 53. Strike 1. He had a big hit Wednesday in their win over Detroit. A game-winning RBI single in the bottom of the 9th. They had been stymied all game by Mark Redmond, the lefty. And then won it 2-1 with 2 runs in the 9th. The winner driven in by Posada. For quite a week for Posada. On Monday, he and his wife Paulina, welcomed the birth of their new baby Paulina. There's his winning hit in the game against Detroit on Wednesday. Last Saturday at Cleveland, he hit a grand slam, drove in 6 runs. He's out this time, called out on strikes. Third strikeout for Pedro.
Inside corner with the fastball, tailing it back over the plate. 152 now on the season. Pedro's first. Clemens is second. Clemens obviously right now on the DL. He has 126 on the season.
1 out. Ventura at first. And a strike into Rondell White. He has started to pick it up after a slow start for the Yankees. 268, 10 homers, 41 runs batted in. Very short lead for Ventura. He has 2 stolen bases. He has not been thrown out trying to steal. White is 20 for his last 61. He was 2 for 4 in their win yesterday. Scored a couple of runs against the Tigers. Crowd getting a little restless. Ventura doesn't have much of a lead. It isn't much of a runner, but the hit and run a possibility. Pretty big hole in the right side of that infield. Close, but called the ball. 1-1 as Offerman is holding Ventura, and Sanchez is shading the middle with Rondell White up there. A pop up near the Yankee dugout. Varitek with room makes the catch. And some amazing research came our way today from the folks at Elias Sports Bureau. Pedro Martinez has the best record of all time in Major League Baseball. Over 100 decisions with a team. His first 100 decisions with a team. He is 78-22 since coming to the Red Sox. There's never been a pitcher with a better record than the first 100 decisions of his career with any team in the history of baseball. Could have stumped me on Bill Hoffer being second on that list too. Don't remember Bill. You might have played against him there in the.
What year was that, Sean?
1895.
I just missed him.
Probably heard about him though. You remember what he threw?
I used to have his baseball card. Is that Jimmy Hoffa?
Yeah, just like Jimmy used to bury him inside. The catch made by Garcia Parra on the pop-up by Johnson. You're watching the Fox 25 Red Sox television network. No scores. We go to the third. Friends, tickets for the Monday, July 22nd. That's this coming Monday. Celebration of an American hero, Ted Williams, are currently on sale. Many seat locations are still available, including box seats. The program begins at 6 p.m. The gates are scheduled to open at 5. All net proceeds benefit the Jimmy Fund Clinic at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Tickets can be purchased by calling 617-482-4SOX. For more information, we invite you to log on to redsox.com. A lot of Red Sox legends will be there. Brian Daubach looked at a strike. I was delighted to hear that John Glenn is going to be there. The former senator, astronaut, like Ted Williams, a great American war hero.
Yeah, things are really starting to shape up. Sounds like it's going to be a nice evening.
Daubach, Nixon, and Offerman. Bottom third of the order against Mussina, who's allowed one hit. Had that erased on a double play ball. Daubach's had an excellent road trip. 11 for 30, a .367 batting average through Toronto, Detroit, and Tampa. His season average back up to .269. 2 balls and 1 strike. Bryant's hit safely in 10 of his last 12. Ball 3. Ron Nixon on deck. Little number foul. Let's pause for station identification. You're watching the Fox 25 Red Sox television network.
You're watching WFXT Fox 25 Boston, home of the Red Sox.
Sean McDonough, Jerry Remy, our producer Russ Ken, director John Wilson, associate producer Dave Corus, Dave Bauman assisting us here in the booth. No score. We're in the third. For those of you tuning in for Fox 25 News at 10, we had a 2-hour and 17-minute rain delay before this game finally got underway, so it's going to be a while, but stay with us. Settle in, enjoy the ball game. Red Sox and Yankees. not a bad entertainment option. Jerry, if you want to do little news highlights interspersed in the telecast, that'd be fine too. Foul tip, so Dahlbach is still alive. Dahlbach has struck out more against Mussina than any other batter Mussina has faced.
.206 average with a couple of home runs for Dahlbach.
Offerman also on that list. And Mo Vaughn, who should be coming to the Red Sox any minute, according to the New York media. They continue to bang that drum today, despite the Red Sox howls of laughter at the mention of that rumor.
One guy, I read the story, I don't know who wrote it, but he actually called the Red Sox a cheap organization because they didn't want to get Mo Vaughn back.
Yeah, that was Tom Keegan. He was the same guy who co-wrote the article in the New York Post the other day with George King.
How much is Mo making?
$13 million.
That's quite a bit of money.
Yes, it is. He's been rehabbing and coming back from serious injuries. Not in the best of shape. He's had a bad year.
He had one good week, so all of a sudden we're supposed to get him for $13 million for the next 2 years.
Lined and caught. Soft line drive handled by Nick Johnson. So a lengthy battle for Dahlbach.
Number 7, Trot Nixon, 19.
Tony Clark again
not
not
a spectator tonight.
Yeah,
Sorry,
not in the
Jerry.
lineup, but Jose Offerman getting some defense in there in a tight ball game, which they think was going to be a tight ball game between Pedro and Mussina. They feel like Offerman is their best defensive first baseman.
There's Nixon popping one up, and we'll find the seats. Trot is at 256, 13 homers and 46 runs batted in. And the game-winning RBI in Tampa yesterday. The Red Sox came from 3-0 down to win 4-3. Fouled at the plate. 0-2. One out, third inning, no score. Mussina's pitch is high. And he struck him out. Third K for Mussina.
Well, he looks very, very sharp here in the early going. He's got the pitches, all the pitches going, and he's put them in the spots that he wants to put them in. Off-speed pitch here, up and away from Trot Nixon to pick up the strikeout. His control actually looks sharper right now than Pedro's does in this ball game.
He's won his last 5 starts against the Red Sox. Last Yankee to win 6 straight. Mel Stottlemyre back in the mid-60s. Now the Yankees pitching coach. In his last season here, he's going to retire at the end of the year. Offerman hit a slow roller to second. Soriano threw him out. Another 1-2-3 inning. On to the home half of the third in New York. No score. 25. It's a 2-hour Cops Marathon special starring the most stupid criminals in America. Witness some of the dumbest things lawbreakers do to get away with crime in this action-packed special 2-hour Cops-a-thon tomorrow night starting at 8 on Fox 25.
I have to go out to dinner early tomorrow night so I get back to watch that.
How'd your wallet fare today? You holding up okay so
I-
far with Mrs. Rem Dog and one of the Rem pups here?
I don't even want to think about it. I don't want to see the
You can
bills.
open that hotel room door when you get back there tonight, just see boxes and boxes from Fifth Avenue.
Oh, you know what they have here? They have them ship it home.
Wasn't that special?
Yeah.
That probably cost something. Shane Spencer lines one foul. He's quickly in the hole 0-2. He's become kind of the forgotten man here with the arrival of Mondesi, but he did have a big hit to win the game for them yesterday against Detroit. They tried the platoon of Spencer and Vanderwall, but they weren't satisfied with the production and went out and got Mondesi, even though they already had the best offense in baseball. Spencer strikes out. Pedro made quick work of him. That's the 4th K for Martinez.
That should be a pretty easy matchup for Pedro Martinez tonight. Now he's 0 for 8 as Spencer is careering against Pedro, and he has trouble with the breaking ball. He'll see a lot of curveballs tonight from Martinez.
Top of the order, and Alfonso Soriano popped the second baseman Sanchez in the first inning. Ball 1, low and away. Soriano, then Derek Jeter. In the air and right. Nixon. Of course, at Fenway, I don't even notice that ball as it's traveling through the air, but here at Yankee Stadium with a very short porch and right, the 314 distance down the right field line. Anything hit with even some authority toward right gets your heart rate up a little bit.
That little cut fastball that time from Pedro, and Soriano got it toward the end of the bat. But you're right, Sean. Every time the fly ball goes semi-deep out there, people think it's got a chance to be a home run.
Derek Jeter takes the ball outside. He walked in the first and was stranded at second. Pedro's walked one, given up one hit. It was a single. He's thrown a wild pitch and has struck out 4. Up the middle, backhanded by Sanchez. Nice play to end the inning. A 1-2-3 inning. After 3, no score. This is the Fox 25 Red Sox television network. Let's get a check on the weather back at our Fox 25 studios. Here's Cindy Fitzgibbon. And this report in the news today, Major League Baseball is suing the umpires union because they want to discipline the union head, John Hirschbeck. They haven't been happy with some of the things he's been doing on the field. Wanted to discipline him. Apparently they're having a tough time doing that, so they're going to court. Just what we need. Another court battle. Apparently they're using this computerized system to grade how well the umpires are doing calling the balls and strikes.
Yeah, they say he's calling too many strikes.
Yeah, and that doesn't surprise us. He's notorious for calling, especially outside pitches. Pitches 6 inches, 8 inches off the outside corner strikes, and they told him to stop doing that. Among other things. It's a mess. 4th inning, no score, and Johnny Damon, the batter, he struck out in the first. Damon, Sanchez, and Garcia Parra against Mussina, who's faced the minimum 9 men through 3. He's allowed just 1 hit, a single by Sanchez. Red Sox have had only 1 other ball out of the infield. That was a deep fly to left center by Jason Varitek. Check swing, strike, said the third base umpire Dana DeMuth. A 2-2 to Damon. Slashed out of play to the left. Outfield plays Johnny a little bit around toward left, the opposite field. Mussina not working quite as quickly between pitches as he ordinarily does. That's ripped to right center, in for a hit. And cut off by Spencer. Hurried over. So the Red Sox have the lead man on for the first time tonight. Damon just the second Red Sox base runner of the night.
One of the problems with Sanchez hitting behind Damon, it's an excellent hit and run combination, but for stolen bases for Johnny, it's a little bit difficult because Sanchez swings so early in the count. And you expect this to be a very, very tight ball game all the way through. Stolen base could be huge. So we'll see here if Sanchez gives him an opportunity to try to steal. Or the other option would be the hit and run.
Sanchez single to left. This first time up, he takes the ball low. Damon a great ratio, 22 steals. He's been caught just 4 times. Outfield around toward right for Sanchez. Quick move to first. See the center fielder Williams several steps toward right. And Spencer a step toward the line and a step shallow as well. No score. The hits are 2-1 in favor of the Red Sox. Neither team has made an error. We're in the 4th. First of a 3-game series. You can see all 3 this weekend here on Fox 25. Damon runs. Sanchez turned to bunt. The throw not in time. Stolen base number 23 for Johnny Damon.
And a good job by Sanchez. It's not a great jump by Damon, but Sanchez helped out by faking a bunt and pulling the head of the bat back to the catcher. That's going to keep Mussina back a little bit longer right there. And that's what a guy that's protecting a base stealer should do.
Tag down around the ankles of Damon while the hand was on the bag. So now a man in scoring position with nobody out, and a count of 2-0 on Sanchez. He has a very short lead with Jeter right behind him. Does Damon. Now Sanchez bunts. And on the third goes Damon. That's a sacrifice. And with Pedro on the mound, the way these 2 pitches are going, you might play for 1 run at a time. We certainly don't see the Red Sox do that very often.
No, that's good baseball, though, especially in a ball game like this. Big series, great pitching matchup. Get that guy to third base. Torrey will tell you what he thinks about this matchup, too. He's going to bring his infield in this early in the game with the 1 out.
Just the 14th time all year the Red Sox have sacrificed. Only Oakland has fewer in the American League. A strike to Garcia-Parra. Omar checked his swing and tapped into a 1-4-3 double play to end the first. Infield in, outfield straight away. In the dirt. That was a 58-footer and a good block by Posada. Not as much room here at Yankee Stadium behind the plate as there used to be with the addition of a couple of rows of seats, but that backstop is still the greater distance than most in the American League.
Now, sometimes, Sean, when a ball bounces that far out in front of home plate, it's a little bit lucky for the catcher to knock that down. He has no idea where that thing's going to bounce. Here's a good look at how much distance there is behind home plate. Not as much as before, but still pretty deep. Ball and a strike on Garcia-Parra. Manny Ramirez is on deck. Popped up. Red Sox hoping that'll get in the seats, but it won't. And the catch made by Johnson. Then the ball came out of his glove. It is an out and a break for the Red Sox.
as the juggling act allowed Damon to come down and score. The Red Sox lead 1-0. Alert base running by Johnny Damon, scoring on a pop-up over by the tarp that was caught probably only about 150 feet from home plate.
Yeah, and the key here is that it's the first baseman that makes the catch. If Soriano makes the catch, they may not be able to tag. Once the catch is made, they get all tangled up, and Damon, with some very heads-up, very good base running there, scores the run. See,
John dropped the ball. I just think he got tangled up and fell down.
Yeah, it looks like he might have dropped it when he tried to make the transfer, and they were knocking each other over. But that's a heads-up, good base running play by Damon.
And Nomar does get credited with a sacrifice fly and a run batted in.
So speed, the base hit, stolen base, sacrifice, and scoring on a foul ball that probably goes about 120 feet.
1-0 Red Sox in the fourth. The bases are empty now with 2 outs. Ramirez popped the second his first time up. Takes the fastball high. Well hit to left on a line, but Rondell White there to make the catch and end the inning. Red Sox get a run on just 1 hit. And as we go to the home half of the fourth in New York, it's 1-0 Boston. Red Sox just manufactured a run to take a 1-0 lead. And the trainer has been looking at Soriano during the break between innings. We're looking back at this entanglement with Johnson now to see if we can tell perhaps what happened. Maybe got kicked in the shin.
That might have got stepped on, cleated, kicked as they tangled up down that first base line.
So Pedro has the lead, and he'll face the meat of the order: Giambi, Williams, and Ventura, the 3, 4, and 5 hitters here in the fourth. Pedro's retired the last 6 since the only Yankee hit of the game, a single by Ventura in the second inning. Giambi, a big swing and a foul on the screen. He was called out on strikes on a borderline 3-2 pitch on the outside corner in the first.
Red Sox with a big shift on Giambi. 3 infielders on the right side. Only Hillenbrand left over there at shortstop.
Lined out of play into the upper deck in left. 0-2. Just inside. Pedro has given up just the 1 hit and 1 walk. He has struck out 4. Veritek wanted it high and Pedro missed high. It took these Yankee fans a while to warm up to Giambi. They actually booed him as early as the home opener here at Yankee Stadium. Welcome to New York, Jason. Check swinging a foul ball. It seemed to turn around for him with the fans in mid-May. On May 17th, he had a walk-off grand slam in the 14th inning. They were down by 3 runs. Minnesota had scored 3 runs in the top of the 14th. And then Giambi won the game with a grand slam in the bottom. His 9th career grand slam. Ever since then, they've been applauding him with great gusto.
Well, there's always pressure on free agents when they report to the new ball club. They want to impress. There's more pressure here, obviously, in New York because you get more attention. But you knew it was just a matter of time before Giambi started to play like Giambi.
MVP 2 years ago in the American League. Narrowly lost that award to Ichiro last year. And involved in another full count with Pedro. Giambi did get off to a slow start. Through 28 games, he was just hitting .274 with 4 homers. But over the last 66, he's hit .343 with 20 homers. An all-star for the 3rd straight year. Payoff pitch. The curveball popped up. It's Hillenbrand playing where Garcia Parra ordinarily would be, out in shallow left to make the catch. Time to take a look at league leaders, brought to you by your local Lincoln Mercury dealers. Tonight's exciting category, stolen bases. And in the American League, it's Soriano now just by 2 over Damon with Johnny stolen base tonight. Ichiro also with 23. Jeter and Lofton round out the top 5. The Major League leader is Luis Castillo of Florida and Juan Pierre Alex Sanchez. League leaders brought to you by your local Lincoln Mercury dealers. Bernie Williams, the hitter. 1 strike to count. Bernie struck out swinging to end the 1st.
No radar gun, Sean, but Pedro looks like he's got good pop on that fastball. They're not making contact on those high fastballs tonight.
Just blurt it out when he throws a fastball.
Take a guess at it?
Blurt it, yeah. Give me the radar gun. Well, that was a breaking ball.
That's a cutter. That's going to be 88 on the cutter.
We just want the fastballs. He's not speeding. You know, if you're under the speed limit, that's okay.
The cutter is a fastball.
Yes, it is. Cut fastball.
Brady,
how does he cut it? With a knife, a fork? What does he do?
You just hold it a little bit off center is all you do, and it's a very late break to it. You hold it the same as you would a fastball, except you hold it just a little bit off center, and that makes that cut right at the end.
Now, some of the pitchers you used to play behind would throw cut fastballs.
They would really cut them.
They would really cut them. Now, there were rumors that maybe occasionally you might have been involved in the cutting. I don't know if the statute of limitations has run out. Apparently that pitch hit Ventura. So he's aboard. Brady Little started out and then said, forget about it. I didn't think that hit him from here, but obviously Kerwin Danley has a much better view of it than we do. Well, I guess it did. Just grazed him around that front knee, maybe just above that knee. Pedro leads the league. He's hit 12 batters. You know, he has a reputation, or had it, for occasionally throwing at guys, but most of the ones I can remember, Jerry, this year have been just like that.
Exactly.
Pitches that graze the guy's uniform, hit somebody on the knee.
Just trying to pitch inside, nothing up near the head.
Ventura with a short lead. Offerman's not going to hold him on. And Posada tying run at first and 2 outs in the 4th. Looked at a strike. Posada was called out on strikes in the 2nd. We're in the 4th. The Red Sox lead 1-0. They took the lead in the top of this inning. Damon very deep in center for Posada. Takes a ball, 1-1. In the American League, Baltimore beat the White Sox 10-4. The Twins beat Detroit 5-1. They continue to roll right along in the Central. Twins started the day with an 11-game lead in the American League Central. They've won 8 of their last 11. Strike 2, 1-2. Here's the list of hitters with the most career strikeouts against Pedro. And Posada with a chance to catch the crime dog with a strikeout here.
Interesting, too, all left-handed hitters. A couple of them switch hitters. Posada, Justice a left-hander. And the reason for when they hit left-handed against Pedro, one of the reasons for a lot of those strikeouts is the great changeup.
Strike 3. He joins the crime dog at the top of the list of those victimized by Pedro. You're watching the Fox 25 Red Sox television network.
They pitch.
1-0 Red Sox. Pedro has shut out the Yankees on just 1 hit while striking out 5. The Red Sox scratched for a run last inning. Interesting graphic. Similar points in their career, just about the same number of games. Pedro's numbers and the great Hall of Famer Sandy Koufax. Pedro with the better ERA. And Pedro had more strikeouts, even though Koufax pitched more innings.
Not bad company.
No. Koufax wasn't bad. Ground ball through the right side of the infield. Jason Varitek, the leadoff single on the first pitch of the inning, thrown by Mussina. That's a 6-game hitting streak for Jason.
I think both Varitek and Mussina can't believe it. Only the 2nd career hit for Jason against Mike Mussina.
How about Sandy Koufax? 1966, the next year after our comparison, which went through 1965. Koufax went 27-9, struck out 317, and retired. Pop fly in right. Spencer made the catch near the line. Hillenbrand 0 for 2. And now 0 for his last 7. One out here in the 5th. The comparison point, they were both 31 years old at the time. Similar number of games. There's Koufax bothered by arm trouble.
4 innings for Koufax. Obviously, in that era of baseball, starting pitches went much deeper into the game than they do now. Not much concern about a pitch count. And a lot of guys had shorter careers.
There's Daubach, who hit a soft line drive to the first baseman Johnson his first time up. Very interesting man, Sandy Koufax. I had the pleasure of playing golf with him about 4 or 5 years ago down at Billy Andre and Brad Faxon's charity tournament in Rhode Island. And he was a good player. He was about a 10 handicap. But he was miserable because he had been a 2 handicap a few years before. And he was so used to being great at everything that it really bothered him that even though he was going to shoot about 80, 81, it just drove him nuts to the point where he really did not want to play. So I rarely play golf anymore. I'm so frustrated by how bad I am.
It's holding himself to pretty high standards.
Yes. He was also a fine basketball player as a young man. A very nice guy.
You know, you can't get away from this Yankee stuff. I just had to leave the booth for a second between innings. Who do I run into? Goose Gossage. More bad memories.
I was wondering what all that screaming and yelling was I heard in the hallway. You lay him out?
Yeah.
Line to left. Here comes White to make the sliding catch. A well hit ball, but an out. Back to first, Varitek. With 2 outs here in the 5th. The Red Sox leading 1-0.
Well, the Rondell White pickup has not been great for the Yankees. It's been okay. Rondell White making a nice diving play here as he slides to make the catch. He's fortunate there. A lot of times that ball you lose in the light tower. But apparently no problems that time for Rondell White. We thought all along that they would try to upgrade their outfield. They did that by getting Mondesi.
And improve the starting pitching by getting Jeff Weaver. The ball to Nixon. Trott struck out swinging. There's Weaver, who hasn't been too good in his first 2 starts as a Yankee.
Tell you what, too, if the Red Sox were to sweep 3 games this weekend against New York, George would be very busy again trying to get more guys next week.
Strike 1, 1-1. The Red Sox to see Weaver in the series finale here on Fox 25 Sunday at 1. John Burkett will pitch for the Red Sox. Tomorrow is the national coverage on Fox. 1:15, the first pitch. Tomorrow, Rolando Rojo against Orlando Hernandez. Making swap stories about sneaking out of Cuba.
Well, Duque, I guess, is suspended today for some incident in the Toronto series. I'm sure he'll appeal that and pitch in the ball game tomorrow against Rojo. Two very interesting stories, Rojo and El Duque. Remember, Veritek tried to delay Steele down in Tampa, and it worked for him.
Well, the Yankees are well aware of that. I'm sure they've had about 2 or 3 advanced scouts at almost every game the Red Sox have played over the last month. Nixon called out. That ends the inning. Mussina has fanned 4. Halfway through, 1-0 Red Sox.
1-0 Red Sox as we go to bottom of the 5th. 5 strikeouts so far on the night for Pedro. Number 1 on the fastball to Giambi. A breaking ball, the curveball there to Bernie Williams. A fastball inside to Posada. A curveball to Spencer. And then a lightning fastball right down the middle of Posada for the 5 strikeouts. Good zip on the fastball. Excellent breaking ball here tonight.
He'll be the bottom 3rd against Pedro here in the 5th inning. Pitching with a 1-0 lead. Rondell White, Nick Johnson, and Shane Spencer coming up. The Yankees have had just 1 hit, the single right off the end of the bat by Ventura in the 2nd inning. Ball 1 to White, who popped out in foul ground to the catcher Veritek. This outing tonight, Jerry, is certainly going to add fuel to the theorists who think that Pedro can kind of crank it up a notch when he feels like he wants to or needs to.
I think you're right, Sean, and I think it was all a game plan those last 2 outings to go short distance, 5 innings, 6 innings, and then come back and be able to go hard here tonight.
The 1-2. Pedro's won his last 4 decisions. He had a no decision last time out against Toronto, even though he allowed just 1 earned run in 6 innings. He struck out at least 8 in each of his previous 5 starts. Here comes Veritek, but that one will be on the screen right in front of us. One-two pitch. Check swing. Strike 3. Six strikeouts.
Little pop on this fastball by design, going up and out of the zone and trying to get to White to chase. And does not have control of the head of the bat. Pedro picks up number 6.
1 out, 5th inning. Nick Johnson takes a breaking ball for a strike. He popped to short, ending the 2nd. Ball just outside. 1-1 on Johnson. 23-year-old. Sacramento, California. He's the nephew of Larry Bowa. Fouled. 1-2.
Sean, I still say the best game that I've seen Pedro pitch in a Red Sox uniform was right here at Yankee Stadium. It was that 3 or 4 years ago now. Chili Davis, I believe, hit a home run early in the game, and then that was it. It was lights out after that.
That was their only hit. David Cohn, who had pitched a perfect game not long before that, said Pedro's performance that night was better than his perfect game. Johnson strikes out. Let's take a look back. September 10th of 1999. 17 strikeouts, just 1 hit, You played behind a lot of no-hitters, but that had to rank.
That's as good as any no-hitter I've ever been around.
That's going to be a dominant performance you're ever going to see. 1 hit, no walks, 17 strikeouts. Shane Spencer, bounding ball out of the reach of Hillenbrand. It was not touched by a fan, so Spencer's going to cruise into second with a double. Looked like Hillenbrand might have gotten a piece of that one. So it's the second hit for New York. And they have the tying run in scoring position with 2 outs here in the 5th.
Well, we mentioned that Shane Spencer's going to see a lot of curveballs. That's exactly what he saw that time. To flex off the glove of Hillenbrand. And Nomar, by the time he slides to it, Spencer into second base in a scoring position. So apparently Spencer up there looking for the breaking ball.
So the forgotten man, Spencer, making his presence known the last couple of days here for New York, getting a chance to play with Mondesi out after cautionary x-rays on his chest and neck.
Well, against Soriano, you've got to make a quality pitch on the first pitch. He likes chasing that first pitch.
Pedro's held him in check so far. He has popped to second and fly to right. 1 run, 3 hits for Boston. No runs, 2 hits New York. As expected, a pitcher's duel between Martinez and Mussina. Foul right back to the backstop.
I see Veritek there prior to the pitch going up in his stance. He wanted a high fastball. Pedro didn't get it up high enough. And that was a pretty good pitch for Soriano to swing at.
Good breaking ball for strike 2. 0-2 on Soriano, who is just 2 for 18 now in his career against Pedro. And Veritek wanted it high. Pedro threw it high that time. Soriano, a free swinger, would not chase that one. One of the best pitchers of his era, one of the very best, against a rising young star, rapidly becoming one of the best hitters in the game. Soriano fouls it back onto the screen. Still 1-2. Derek Lowe looking on. He will not pitch in this series. Pitched 2 nights ago and dominated the Tampa Bay Devil Rays while earning his league-leading 13th win. Time called by the home plate umpire Kerwin Danley.
And Derek Lowe still leads the American League in ERA. 2.45.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Outside. 2-2. Spencer, the runner at second. 2 outs. The 2-2 pitch. Popped out a play to the right.
Missed with a changeup, comes back with the curveball. Let's see if they try to elevate with the fastball again.
They do, and he struck him out. Pedro struck out the side with the double by Spencer mixed in. 7 Ks for Martinez. After 5, 1-0 Red Sox. 1-0 Red Sox as we head to the 6th. Pedro Martinez outdueling Mike Mussina. The only run of the game so far in the 4th inning with Johnny Damon at 3rd and 1 out. Nomar hit a pop-up over by the tarp. Nick Johnson caught it, got tangled up with Alfonso Soriano, and Damon scored at ease from 3rd. That's the only run of the game. Damon had started that inning, the 4th, with a single. He stole 2nd. Sanchez sacrificed him to 3rd. Jose Offerman looked at a strike. Jose grounded out on the first pitch he saw to the second baseman Soriano in the 3rd inning. Offerman has very quietly put together a 9-game hitting streak. He's hit .379 during the streak. The 0-1 from Mussina. Strike at the outside corner, 0-2. Offerman, then the top of the order, Damon and Sanchez. Slapped out of play into the 2nd level. The attendance here tonight, 55,510. That is a sellout. There are no tickets left for the games tomorrow and Sunday. All 3 games will be completely sold out. The Yankees are leading the majors in average home attendance. They're averaging more than 43,000 per home date here at the stadium. That'll go up tonight. And they all stayed, Jerry. 2 hours and 17-minute delay at the start, but they're all here, or the vast majority,
and making plenty of noise,
as they always do. The 1-2 to Offerman. Hit in the air in center. Routine fly for Williams. 1 out.
Now this is one of those days when hitters wake up in the morning. They know the matchup. They know it's going to be Mussina. They know it's going to be Pedro, and you know you're probably going to have a very difficult night. Both guys very uncomfortable to hit against, and very rare to catch either one of them on an off night. You hope you do, but not likely to happen.
Damon takes a strike. Johnny struck out in the 1st, singled, stole 2nd, and scored the Red Sox run in the 4th. That's the only run in the game. Red Sox have 3 hits. Mussina has not walked a batter. Mussina has fanned 4, while Pedro has struck out 8. 72 pitches, and as usual, very good ratio for Mussina. In the air and right, racing toward the line, Spencer. Two outs, 5 in a row retired now by Mussina. They'll bring up Ray Sanchez, who singled to left in the 1st and dropped down a sacrifice bunt to move Damon from 2nd to 3rd and set up the Red Sox run in the 4th. Chop slowly to 3rd, right to Ventura. An easy 1-2-3 inning for Mike Mussina. 1-0 Red Sox in the 6th.
Yankee Stadium, the Red Sox have a 1-0 lead in a beautifully pitched ball game tonight. Pedro Martinez, 5 innings, only the 2 hits allowed, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, 72 pitches total, and 48 of those for strikes. Both Mussina and Pedro on target in this one tonight.
They get the noise machine working in here tonight, Jared.
Yeah, not enough of it. Need more.
I was just in the men's room and I saw Bob Shepard.
He's still here, huh?
He's still here. You think he's on tape most of the time now?
Yeah, remember we caught the guy faking him?
Yeah, there's a guy doing imitation.
Yeah.
Here come the big bats for the Yankees. Pedro in the 6th, Derek Jeter, Jason Giambi, and Bernie Williams. Look out. Right in under the hands of Jeter. Derek walked in the 1st, grounded out to the second baseman in the 3rd. They've been trying to work him inside.
Most guys that throw hard try to do that because he has that inside-out swing. He tries to get the hands inside the baseball.
Does seem to be a little bit of a diver too into the ball.
Type of swing that Jeter has. When I talk about hands inside the baseball, those kind of guys don't break many bats.
.319 career hitter Jeter, 5th in Yankee history. And you think of all the great players that they've had. He ranks behind only Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig. Well, you can read the names: Bill Combs and Joe DiMaggio. Ripped up the middle, base hit right past Pedro and directly over the second base bag. So that's the 3rd hit for New York. And they have the lead man on for the 2nd time tonight.
Changeup that time from Pedro, and Jeter did a nice job staying back on it and shoots it right back up the middle. So now the Yankees in the same position like the Red Sox were. They had Damon at first base with some speed. The big difference, though, the guy hitting behind Gina has got some home run pop.
Shift on again for Giambi, who has struck out and popped to 3rd. It was actually Hillenbrand playing with a shortstop who caught that pop-up in the 4th inning out in shallow left, trying to pull the changeup away. 1 strike on Giambi. There's a look at the shift. The outfield more or less straight away. They're deep all the way around.
Any kind of ground ball to the infield, all of a sudden Nomar's got to become a second baseman and make that pivot to try to turn a double play.
Inside, a cutter. Giambi will ground into a double play. He's done it 13 times this year. He's tied for the league lead in that category. Miguel Tejada of Oakland and his teammate Bernie Williams. Jorge Posada's also hit into 13. There's a 4-way tie for the league lead and grounded into double plays, and the Yankees have 3 of the 4 guys. It's 39 double plays grounded into between Giambi, Williams, and Posada. Down to 1st. Offerman will try 2nd. That's Nomar. Back to 1st. A double play. Well done. It looked for a moment like Offerman was just going to take the play at first base. But he threw a perfect throw to Nomar, who got it back in plenty of time to double up Giambi, now the league leader, and grounded into double plays all by himself.
And believe me, that's not an easy play for either Jose Offerman or Garciaparra. First of all, Offerman cannot hit the runner in the back. And then from Nomar coming from that second base position to get there and be able to turn that double play. Very nice play by the Red Sox infielders.
And Pedro, as you saw, fired up about that development. 2 outs and the base is now empty. And here's Bernie Williams. Apparently low, ball 1. Williams has struck out and grounded out.
Yeah, a lot of times, Sean, when they have that shift on, all of a sudden the third baseman becomes the pivot man at second on a ground ball to the right side. But Hillenbrand was not close enough to that second base bag to be able to do that.
Ball and a strike now on Williams. Inside. Let's pause for station identification. You're watching the Fox 25 Red Sox television network.
You're watching WFXT Fox 25 Boston, home of the Red Sox.
The 2-1 pitch is high. Sean McDonough, Jerry Remy, our producer Russ Ken, director John Wilson, associate producer Dave Corris, Dave Bauman assisting us here in the booth. Delighted to have you with us. Red Sox trying to help Red Sox fans everywhere get their weekend off to a great start with a win over their arch rivals, the Yankees, in the first of a 3-game series. Ball 4 wasn't close. Second walk by Pedro, the first since he walked Jeter as the second batter of the ball game.
The third baseman, Robin Ventura.
Here's Robin Ventura. He is singled, and last time up he was grazed on the knee or just above the front knee by a pitch. And that one hit him again on the foot. Apparently the umpire didn't see it that way. Ventura saying it hit me right here, and he's limping around. Joe Torre out of the dugout. Ventura is heading to first.
Danley's looking for shoe polish on the baseball.
Yeah, he's not convinced it hit him. And there's been no indication yet. He's shaking his head no. Well, now he says go ahead and take first. He looked at the ball for a long time. I mean, if he found shoe polish, it took him a long time to find it.
You know, when you look at a baseball that they use in the game, they're rubbed up. Some of them are very dark. And he's searching for shoe polish in that ball. And finally, after he twisted and turned about 7 times, he found something.
And he shook his head no and threw the ball away and then gestured. I thought it hit him anyway. Yeah, it hits him right off the back foot.
It hits him because you can see the ball change the directions. There's no question about that.
But how he arrived at that decision is questionable at best. And Grady Little is right to argue. Grady doesn't argue very much, as Red Sox fans know. I can't remember seeing a game when he really seemed extraordinarily upset.
Anything more than a discussion, you haven't seen that. But that's the correct call. They made the right call.
So it's the second time Ventura has been hit. And now all of a sudden they have 2 men on with 2 outs. The tying run at second, go ahead run at first. And Posada coming to the plate. Here in the 6th inning, 1-0 Red Sox. The hits are even at 3 apiece. Posada struck out twice. Pedro nearly hit him. And the fans are starting to get a little bit agitated at Pedro. I guess they thought that he tried to hit Ventura with a breaking ball on the foot.
Yeah, you would think as long as they've had baseball here in New York, they would know better than that. Pedro's control right in this inning has not been real good. He got a big break by getting that 3-6-3 double play.
He's had sporadic control difficulty tonight. Posada struck out as many times against Pedro as any hitter in baseball. With his 2 Ks tonight, 24 career strikeouts against Martinez. 1-1 the count this time. While Posada waited, Garciaparra went in for a quick word with Pedro. Posada's been a hot hitter. Pedro trying to work him inside again, missed. Swing and a miss at a ball in the dirt. And you'd have to think, Jerry, Posada can't be confident. He knows the history against Pedro, and he's already struck out twice tonight.
Now he's chased a bad pitch there. He could have had himself in a hitter's count, 3-1. Chased a bad curveball. All of a sudden, a 2-2 count.
Pedro's had at least 1 strikeout in every inning except this one. A chance to do it here, but he missed. Same pitch that he flipped up there for ball 4 to Bernie Williams. Backdoor breaking ball that didn't have any sharp movement. Rondell White on deck. 3-2 with 2 outs. Fans on their feet. Runners will be off with the pitch. Williams from second and Ventura from first. The payoff pitch. Strike 3. Terrific pitch at the knees. He gets Posada looking. Third time he has struck out. 9 strikeouts tonight for Pedro. Another barn burner with the Red Sox and the Yankees. 1-0 Boston after 6.
Red Sox still have the lead as we go to the top of the 7th in an inning where Pedro's control was a little bit off. He paints the inside corner to pick the strikeout up against Posada with a couple of men on base. That tailing fastball starts out inside, tails back on the inside corner, and Pedro is fired up. Yeah.
Great to see that animated expression from Pedro. It was lacking earlier in the year when it almost looked like he had doubts in his own mind while he was pitching. So still 1-0 Red Sox. Garcia Parra fouls one straight back on the top deck. Nomar grounded into a double play in the first inning. Picked up an RBI on that sacrifice pop-up over by the tarp, in which the only run of the game scored in the 4th. Rare overthrow from Mussina, low and away. Garcia, Parra, Ramirez, and Veritek coming up. Mussina's retired the last 6. And 9 of the last 10 Red Sox hitters. Blown away, 2-1. Like a pretty good pitch to hit, and he popped it up. You don't see that a lot lately. Those are pitches that ordinarily he'd hammer. But in the dugout, they've been looking at a knee of Johnny Damon, his right knee.
It looks like they're icing it too, Sean. Here's a slide earlier in the ball game out in the outfield where maybe he hurt his knee on that play.
He was flexing his leg for a while after that out in the outfield.
Yeah, that's I don't like that when they got it not only wrapped, but they've got ice in it and try to keep some swelling down. So apparently that thing's puffed up on him.
Up and in, and the Yankee fans are glad to see that. And he has popped the second and the line to left. 1 out in the 7th. 1-0 Red Sox. In the air, a towering fly, but foul on the upper deck at right at home run distance.
You know, in today's game of baseball, this is so much fun to watch. 2 class pitchers going against each other. Guys who know how to pitch. Pitch inside, knock guys off the plate, change speeds when they have to. This is very rare.
And they're throwing strikes. They're working quickly. Haven't needed much defensive work behind them. Most of the plays in the field have been routine. Inside. 2-1. Uncharacteristically, Mussina has not been going deep into ball games this year. Up over the head of Manny. He hasn't worked more than 6 1/3 innings in a game since June 1st when he pitched 7 innings against the Red Sox. Since then, he's made 7 starts, this being the 8th, and has not pitched more than 6 1/3. That's right where he is now, 6 1/3 innings. Manny chased ball 4 high and fouled it back 3-2. Varitek to follow. Fouled into the upper deck on the first base side.
That's when you know guys have good stuff. There've been a couple of pitches. Nomar had one. Manny's had a couple of missed at bat. Good pitches to hit, but they're fouling them off. Not making that good solid contact.
Another 3-2 pitch. And another foul ball. And another pretty good pitch to hit, it appeared. That one even had Manny stomping around the batter's box.
The difference there is, though, it's a 3-2 curveball, and there you're just happy to foul that ball off. 3-2 breaking ball, the knuckle curve from Mussina, and straight back for Ramirez. And Manny upset he didn't hit that ball hard.
He could have tattooed that one. 85 pitches from Mussina, 59 of them strikes. We're in the 7th inning, 1-0 Red Sox. Here's the 8th pitch of the at-bat. Ball 4 inside. Ramirez draws the first walk of the night, thrown by Mussina. And a 1-out base runner for Jason Varitek.
Jason Varitek.
No action in the bullpen. Mariano Rivera and crew looking on. Varitek has fly to deep center and single to right to extend his hitting streak to 6. Strike 1. Unusually low run support for Mussina tonight as well. Of course, they haven't given him any tonight. They've averaged 6.6 runs per start for Mussina. One of the reasons why, even though he hasn't pitched tremendously well this year, he has the decidedly winning record, 12-3.
And because of that, Sean, maybe that's why they've been able to take him out of games a little bit earlier, because he has been given a lot of runs in big leads.
In sharp contrast to recent seasons, Pedro also very well supported this year. Last year, the Red Sox average is 4.1 for Pedro. They're up over 6 this year. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, the guy this year that hasn't been getting many runs is Castillo.
The 0-2 pitch just missed. Oh.
Jason Varitek very fortunate to still be standing at home plate. I guess it was too low.
In on the hands and popped up by the mound. Look out. It is on the ground. Manny wasn't even paying attention. Manny, you can't fault him for being away from first base, but when that ball hit the ground, he was talking to Tommy Harper, looking away from the play. So Varitek safe on a fielder's choice as they went to second. Mussina wanted it. Johnson knocked it out of his hand.
Here's a great example of what I've always talked about. Why can't Mussina make that play? He wanted to make it. He's a gold glove pitcher. And Nick Johnson's coming in, barreling in from first base like he's got to make that play for him. Leave alone.
They scored at 154, but it looked like it hit Johnson's glove. before Ventura picked it up.
The third baseman.
Johnson's been in a little bit of a fielding slump. And he wasn't aware that ball hit the ground. Not that it would have mattered, because in a play like that he couldn't be more than a couple of steps away from the bag.
And they're actually a little better off with Varitek at first base. A slight improvement in speed, not a great improvement, a slight.
You think so?
Oh yeah, Varitek runs better than Ramirez.
I'd like to see him race. How far can we have him race?
Oh, I'd make a good wager on that one.
You would?
Oh yeah. I think I could beat Manny.
I don't know. I think when Manny wants to run, as we saw the other day,
No, he
when
runs
he made that
okay.
catch in the outfield,
He runs
can
okay.
pick him up and lay him down, as our friend Bob Montgomery used to say.
I wouldn't call him a pick him up and lay him down guy, but he runs okay. But I think Varitek runs a little better.
All right, let's set up the race.
I'm sure they'd love to race for us.
Hillenbrand's 0 for 2. Foul back to our right. Forward by the Scribes. Well, apparently somebody made a nice play as that ball came off the screen. Mussina now working at a plodding pace. Former Mayor Rudy Giuliani, noted Yankee fan, trying to help Mussina out of the inning. It's the 7th. The Red Sox lead 1-0. Hillenbrand lines one toward the gap in right center. And off the wall on a hop. Here comes that speedster Varitek around third, and he will score. A double by Hillenbrand. A huge hit, and the Red Sox lead 2-0.
Jay Hillenbrand gets a high fastball from Mussina and really puts a charge in this one. No way Bernie Williams can catch up to it. Unfortunately, it does not one hop over the fence. It stays in the ballpark, and that gives my speedy guy Jason Varitek a chance to score all the way from first base. Look at him motor, Sean.
Yeah, first of all, he was running on contact. Secondly, Manny be in the dugout right now. No need to slide. That was my man Manny.
That was a blur going around third base.
24th double of the year for Hillenbrand. A big hit, just a little bit more breathing room for Pedro. Slightly more margin for error now. There's 1-run games. One mistake. And all of a sudden you're tied up. Here's Daubach, who has hit a soft liner to first, and he's lined to left.
See, the other good thing about having Varitek there, Manny might have slid head first in a home plate. You don't want that.
When we have the race, I'm going to tell him that. If it's close at the wire, dive for that tape head first. Red Sox trying to add another here. Hillenbrand at second and 2 outs and a 1-1 count on Daubach. I think there have been signs of fatigue in this inning from Mussina. Ordinarily a horse throughout his career, but not this year. And hasn't been quite as sharp with a lot of his pitches in this inning. He's thrown 24 pitches in this inning. Daubach hits it high in the air in center. And Williams makes the catch just shy of the warning track, but the Red Sox get a run on the big double by Hillenbrand. 7th inning stretch at Yankee Stadium. 2-0. The Red Sox.
Let us now take a moment
And during the 7th inning stretch here at Yankee Stadium, they reflect back on the tragic events of September 11th with the playing and singing of God Bless America.
Men and women of our great country who are now overseas defending our freedom. And now please join with Kate Smith as she sings God Bless America.
Back at Yankee Stadium, 7th inning stretch, 2-0 in favor of the Red Sox. We'll check the scoreboard. The Twins beat the Tigers today 5-1. We'll rip through the scores. Orioles 10, White Sox 4. The Blue Jays beat the Devil Rays 11-8. 5 straight losses now for Tampa Bay. The Royals are leading the Indians 8-5. Another rough outing for Chuck Finley. Angels ahead of the Mariners 2-1 in the 2nd. Pedro threw a ball to the leadoff hitter Rondell White. The Athletics 3 and the Rangers 0. They're in the 5th at the Coliseum. Just about the same pitch. This one a strike. National League, the Cubs shut out the Astros. Prior the winner 4-2. Braves and Phillies 3-0. Atlanta behind Damian Moss. Close. Pedro trying to work that outside corner. Pirates 12, Cardinals 9. The Expos and Marlins 4-2 Florida, winning at home. The Mets and the Reds 4-2 New York. The Rockies lead the Brewers 9-4. Padres 4, Diamondbacks 1. They're in the 5th now at San Diego, and the Giants and the Dodgers. A big series for the National League West. And a great rivalry. They're tied at 1. In the hole, Hillenbrand diving stop, back up, he got him. Terrific play by Shea Hillenbrand. Have an inning for yourself, Shea.
The easy part of that play is diving and catching the ball. The tough play is getting up quickly and throwing a strike to first base to get a pretty quick Rondell White. That's the easy part. Now getting up quickly and throwing a strike is the tough part. So Hillenbrand with a big hit last inning, and now a big defensive play to keep the leadoff man off the base here in the 7th.
Rondell White is 0 for 3. Here's Nick Johnson 0 for 2. He has popped to short and struck out. Pedro has 9 strikeouts. He needs 1 more for his 85th career game of 10 strikeouts or more. And he gets another one. It would be his 7th game this year with 10 or more. Routine roller to first. Offerman plays it himself. 2 outs in the 7th. The Red Sox lead 2-0.
This will be just what the doctor ordered here. A low pitch inning for Pedro here in the 7th. 100 pitches now for Pedro. 61 of them strikes.
Even if he got him through the 8th, he could get Urbina in the 9th if need be. I'd like to see Pedro finish. But you'd also like to skip that part of the bullpen between the starters and Urbina, because it's been a shaky group lately.
Yeah, they got some guys out there that need a rest right now too.
Hopefully they'll be bolstered over the weekend at some point by the return of Dustin Hermanson, who apparently has fared very well in his rehab assignments down in Pawtucket. 2-0 now on Shane Spencer, who bounced a double off the glove of Hillenbrand in the 5th inning. The only extra base hit, one of 3 hits in all for New York. He pops that one up. If it's caught as it should be, it'll be an 11-pitch inning. Damon the catch. You're watching the Fox 25 Red Sox television network. 2-0 Red Sox. Pedro has been terrific, but he's had a little help as well. This was a big 3-6-3 double play in the 6th inning after the lead man was on. Jason Giambi grounded into the twin killing. And then in the 7th, the first batter, Ding White, hit a bouncer in the hole on the left side. Shea Hillenbrand, a fine play to get a 1-2-3 11-pitch inning started. It seems like quality pitching will bring out good defense as well. Fielders more attentive, more into the game, rise to the occasion.
The only people here that are not having fun are the hitters. Pitchers are having a great time. The guys playing behind him are having a great time.
Here's Nixon. Line toward the right field corner. That's a hit. It'll roll all the way to the wall with the 314 mark. Spencer fires it back in, but it's an easy stand-up double for Trot Nixon.
Now, Trot hasn't had many hits recently. He now has a 4-game hitting streak, but he's been getting some very important hits. And he gets the knuckle curve right here from Mussina and puts it right down that right field line for the leadoff double. Now, Offerman, whether it's by this bunt or by trying to pull the ball, he's going to get Nixon to third base.
At first, Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach at the mound. They do have action. First action in either bullpen tonight. In the Yankee bullpen. Steve Carsey and Mike Stanton.
Jose Offerman does not have a sacrifice bunt this season, and a couple of times he's been asked to do it. Hasn't had very good efforts at it. You might be better off letting him swing and try to pull the ball here.
4 doubles and 5 homers for Nixon for those 9 hits out of 13 that have gone for extra bases. 101 pitches now for Mussina. They don't seem all that convinced there's going to be a bunt. Ventura not charging hard. It's bunted right on front of the plate, thrown to third, a one-hopper, and it gets by Ventura. Here comes Nixon to the plate, and Offerman will make it to second base. Bad throw by Posada. The Red Sox lead 3-0.
Very poor choice there by Jorge Posada to try to go to third base. Even with a good throw, I don't think he's got any chance at all to get Trot Nixon. Not a great bunt, just out in front of the home plate, but Posada, no hesitation, throws it right on the ground. Even with a good throw, Sean, he's not going to get him at third base. Very poor choice, a costly error. 3 runs now for the Red Sox.
Sacrifice, fielder's choice, and an error on Posada. No RBI. Offerman winds up at second. It's the 7th error of the season for Posada. That's the most among American League catchers. And a chance for more with nobody out and Offerman in scoring position and Damon up there 1 for 3. They think he might bunt as well. Ventura on the edge of the grass, as is Johnson, the first baseman. That's grounded to third. Johnson took a look at third. Grounded to first, rather. Johnson took a look at third. I think after the mishap by Posada, might have helped him make up his mind to go to first.
Heads up for the squeeze play in this at bat. Perfect time. 1 out. A guy that can handle the bat at home plate. Always a possibility in this situation.
And Sanchez looking down at Mike Cubbage before he gets in the batter's box. Three-0 Red Sox. The hits are 5-3 in favor of Boston. The only error in the game moments ago by Posada. It was a big one. Check swing, foul ball out of play to the right.
Sanchez there once again swinging at the first pitch, but helping out Mussina. That ball was not a strike. You don't put the squeeze on 0-1 because it's a pretty good pitch to pitch out on.
Sanchez has been a hot hitter. He singled to left in the first, dropped down a sacrifice bunt in the fourth. That helped set up the Red Sox first run. He grounded to third in the 6th inning. We're in the 8th. The Red Sox have scored 1 run in this inning. They lead 3-0. And they have Offerman at third with 1 out. In the dirt. And Joe Torre sticking with Mussina here. Seems to be tiring. Over 100 pitches on a hot, humid night. That's a couple of balls that Sanchez has chased, and they've become strikes. 1-2. Infield in, outfield way around toward right for Ray. And they're shallow. Still 1-2.
Another question here now, if there is contact on a ground ball, do you send Offerman on contact? A lot of times teams will do that with 1 out, but that also depends on who's on deck. Now Nomar is on deck, but he struggles some, so you may see the contact play with the 1 out.
Way outside, good block by Posada. Two and 2. Apparently a disturbance in the upper deck off to our right. Surprised it's taken this long. Grounded to short, contact play not on. Offerman still at third with 2 outs as Jeter threw out Sanchez. I'm with you. 3-0. Go ahead and get greedy. Nomar's been scuffling a little lately.
Now that's the only reason I thought it was a possibility in that situation, because he has been struggling some right now.
Error on Bob Shepard. I think that was live because he just mangled Nomar's name.
Did he?
I don't know what he called him, but it wasn't Nomar Garcia Parra. It was something like Ramon Garcia Parra.
Maybe it was that guy that's maybe the stand-in. You know, the what do they call him in the movies?
Heard Bob make a mistake before.
A double, a stand-in.
Line to left, but right at Rondell White, and that ends the inning. The Red Sox settle for 1 run. They go to the bottom of the 8th, 3-0. Boston. Sox baseball on Fox 25 is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, bringing people together with low fares, and by your local Lincoln Mercury dealers. A vintage Pedro Martinez performance. Red Sox have scratched for 3 runs. Yankees occasionally a little bit shaky in the field. Well, that's the kind of line we're accustomed to seeing from Pedro. Low hit total, low walks, high strikeouts, and few, if any, runs allowed.
And this has been the Pedro of old.
Yes, with the velocity to match.
That's
We've been getting the results this year without the consistent velocity. Tonight, and again, we're guessing because the radar gun here at Yankee Stadium is not working. It's just obvious he's got the pop in that fastball tonight.
From the first inning on.
He'll face the top of the order. Alfonso Soriano 0 for 3. Lines one to left, but right at Ramirez. Well, we talked about a couple of shaky moments for Joe Torre's defense. They had a bad year defensively. We go back to the 4th inning when the Red Sox scored their run. Certainly they would have had a play at the plate on Johnny Damon. Perhaps Damon would even try to score on that pop-up if Johnson and Soriano didn't collide. They had the collision on the pop-up that Mussina wanted to catch, and then this led to an unearned run as Posada spiked one going to third. One out. Here's Jeter. Ball one. Close but a ball. Jeter's been on base twice. He walked in the first and singled in the 6th. Grounded to second in the 3rd. Pedro ready to go quickly, but Jeter asked out. Bounced foul behind Willie Randolph, third base coach. Chris Haney warming up in the bullpen. Still plenty of life on the Martinez fastball. He threw that right by Jeter for strike 2.
Well, Sean, I'd have to say, observing this game now for better than 7 innings, that Pedro's thumb is okay.
He did have us a little worried with that bullet in the 1st inning.
I'm just trying to report what I saw before the game.
Especially when he bounced a couple up there in the 1st inning.
And Pedro was a little concerned about it too.
I think in addition to staging the race between Ramirez and Veritek, we should have Pedro run into Bryant Nelson in the outfield before his next start.
Yeah.
Giambi on deck. Full count now on Jeter. The payoff pitch outside. Second time Jeter has walked. Pedro has walked 3 and hit 2 batters. He has struck out 9. He hasn't had a strikeout since he got Posada to end the 6th. Not that was all that long ago. He went to the 7th without a strikeout. That's the only inning so far tonight that he has completed without a strikeout. Here's Giambi 0 for 3. He struck out, popped out, and grounded into that big 3-6-3 double play in the 6th. And on the phone with the bullpen. Pedro's thrown 111 pitches. 9 above his average, 6 away from his high. 117 on July 1st against Toronto. A game in which he struck out 14 Blue Jays in 8 innings while shutting them out over 8. 8 innings, the longest outing of the season for Pedro. He's done that 6 times. He's pitched 7 1/3 tonight. Even in the count with Giambi 1-1. Yankees need another base runner to get the tying run to the plate. Little nubber against that shift. It's going to be a hit. Just a little cue shot off the end of the bat with the shift onto the infield. Garcia Pardo over on the right side of Hildenbrand where Nomar ordinarily would be. So they will get the tying run to the plate, and Grady Little is on his way to the mound. He's trotting out there. I'll be stunned if he takes Martinez out of the game.
I think he's just going to check with him and see how he feels, make sure he's okay. A little change up that time for Martinez that just whipped right off the end of the bat.
So a walk and a cheap hit, and all of a sudden they get the tying run to the plate with one out here in the 8th. 4 hits given up by Pedro.
Scary thing about this matchup, as we mentioned earlier, Bernie Williams, even though he doesn't have a high batting average against Pedro, does have 3 career home runs off Martinez.
Williams 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. He was struck out and grounded to first. Infield at double play depth. Outfield more or less straight away. Bernie pulls one toward the right field corner. On to score Jeter. Into third. Giambi on a double. The throw in hits Williams, but Giambi does not try to scamper in. So 3 straight men have reached. And now a tough call for Grady Little. He has Urbina warming up. I know Jerry doesn't like to go to Urbina in the 8th inning. And they do have the lefty Ventura. So perhaps here the call will go to Haney, and apparently it will.
Yeah, it is. Going to go to the left-handed Chris Haney to try to get Ventura. And then they'd probably switch over to Urbina.
So a tremendous effort by Martinez. Chris Haney, the new pitcher, when we come back to Yankee Stadium. For a seat squirmer at Yankee Stadium, the Red Sox led 3-0, but Pedro's given up a run here in the 8th. With 1 out, 2 men in scoring position. The tying run at second. Go ahead run at the plate to greet the left-hander Chris Haney. Robin Ventura 4 for 16 in his career against Haney with a homer. Swing and a miss. And a pitch up there in the mid-60s. Ventura has singled. He was twice hit by Martinez pitches. The journeyman Haney in a pressure-packed situation before 55,000. Low 1-1. Hit on the ground to second. Sanchez drew Offerman for the out. Another run in. It's 3-2 as Giambi came in from third. Williams went to third. Ventura picks up an RBI. And here comes Grady Little. Apparently he will go to Urbina to get the last 4 outs with the switch hitter Posada due next.
I certainly agree with this move here. Certainly Urbina more of a strikeout pitcher than Haney, and that's what you need. More so right now than a guy that you know is probably going to make contact against a pitcher.
Urbina, the new pitcher, when we come back. Stadium rocking. The Yorkers have scored twice here in the bottom of the 8th. They have the tying run at third with 2 outs. The call to the bullpen brought to you by Nextel Direct Connect. Get right through. Call 1-800-NEXTEL-9. Called upon for 4 outs. And what the Red Sox hope will be his 24th save of the season. Here's Ugueth Urbina.
23 and 25 attempts for Urbina. His most recent coming yesterday against the Devil Rays. An inning in that game. 1 hit, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout for Urbina. On to face Posada, who's delighted that Martinez isn't in there anymore. He fanned all 3 times against Pedro, and now has more strikeouts, 25 against Pedro, than any other hitter ever against Martinez. Bernie Williams at third with 2 outs. First pitch from Urbina. High, ball 1. Posada's a switch hitter, hit for a much higher average. Right-handed, more homers left-handed, as you might expect, playing half his games in this part. 2 for 5 in his career against Urbina. Strike, a changeup. And left-handed hitters hitting .302 against Oogie.
He's been much tougher against the right-handed hitters. There's a right-handed hitter, Rondell White, on deck. But he doesn't want to have to face White here in the 8th. Low 1-1 pitch. Fouled back here. 1-2. And Urbina a strike away from getting the Red Sox to the 9th with the lead. Mussina 1 strike away from whiffing for the 4th time. Varitek sets up away. Strike 3 on the outside corner. Posada swing and a miss. He whiffs for the 4th time. The Yankees get 2 but leave the potential tying run at 3rd. We go to the 9th and we'll go to Saturday morning as well. 3-2 Red Sox.
Jorge Posada, 4 strikeouts tonight and a clutch strikeout here. The fastball from Urbina staying away from Posada's power, which would be middle in, and picks up the strikeout. Oogie a little pumped as he leaves him out. And Red Sox fans in attendance happy with the strikeout.
And there are a lot of them in attendance. It's midnight. We go to Saturday morning and we pause for station identification along the Fox 25 Red Sox television network.
You're watching WFXT Fox 25 Boston, home of the Red Sox.
Sean McDonough, Jerry Remy. It sold out Yankee Stadium. A scintillating start to this 3-game weekend series. Red Sox trying to capture round 1. They'll look to pad their 1-run lead in the 9th against reliever Steve Karsay.
Had a good year for the Yankees. 54 hits and 55 in the 3rd innings. Only 18 walks, 42 strikeouts. Opponents hitting .255. He also has 3 saves on the year for the Yankees, making his 50th appearance.
Native New Yorker from Queens. On to face Ramirez, Varitek, and Hillenbrand. Mussina pitched 8 innings and allowed 3 runs, 2 of them earned on 5 hits. He walked 1 and went to Ramirez in the 7th inning, and he's 0 for 2 with the walk. And Mussina struck out 4. He threw 112 pitches, 79 strikes. He's on the hook for the loss unless the Yankees can rally against Urbina in the bottom of the 9th. Fouled out of play to the right. Hammered toward the gap in left center. Rondell White makes the running catch.
Karsay got that fastball in just enough where Manny could not quite get those arms extended. That ball was just 1 inch more toward the middle of the plate. It's bye-bye.
He hit it hard, but not enough on the fat part of the bat.
You see how far he had to pull his hands in and couldn't really drive the ball.
In the bottom of the 9th, the bottom 3rd of the order due up for the Yankees. White, Johnson, and Spencer. The ball outside to Varitek. Jason 1 for 3. He singled in the 5th, reached on the fielder's choice. That dropped pop-up and scored in the 7th. He joined us late. He started late. He started after a 2-hour and 17-minute rain delay. The first pitch came at 9:22. Varitek drives that a long way to straightaway center. Williams retreating on the warning track. He can't get it. Varitek around second, digging for 3rd. He's going to make it with a 1-out triple. showing that speed that Jerry Remy raves about again.
Speed kills, Sean, and Veritek has shown that in this game tonight. Bernie Williams going a long way back to the 408 mark in center field. I'll tell you what, Veritek, that's a low pitch there that he has to gallop towards center field, just missing it as Bernie Williams caroms away, and with Veritek's speed all the way to third base with the 1-out triple. Oh, another run here would be huge for the Red Sox.
Seemed like a ton of breathing room if they get another run. They lead 3-2. First triple since last May. Also against the Yankees. Infield in with Hillenbrand coming up. That was the 6th hit for the Red Sox. The 2nd for Veritek. He's been a very hot hitter. Hillenbrand had a big hit. He doubled to right center to knock in the Red Sox 2nd run in the 7th inning. He did join us late. The Red Sox scored first in the 4th inning. Damon singled, stole 2nd. Sanchez sacrificed him to 3rd. And Nomar hit a pop-up over by the tarp. It was caught. Damon scored from 3rd on a sacrifice fly. It was really a sacrifice pop-up. Hillenbrand's double brought in Veritek in the 7th. Made it 2-0. Shea hits it up the middle, a base hit. Another RBI for Hillenbrand. That makes it 4-2. Shea's had 2 huge hits tonight.
I'll tell you what, too, both Red Sox hitters in this inning have hit pretty good pitches. The ball of Veritek was down low. This was an off-speed pitch to Hillenbrand, but with the infield in, he just makes the contact and shoots it by Soriano for the base hit. It's 56 RBI now on the season for Shea Hillenbrand.
Mike Stanton will be the new pitcher with Daubach coming up. That's 11 RBIs now for Hillenbrand in 12 games against the Yankees this year. Carsey departs after just 1/3 of an inning. 1 run allowed on 2 hits. He's responsible for Hillenbrand. And we'll return to Yankee Stadium after this.
Shea Hillenbrand picking up his 2nd RBI of the night. The infield in gives the Red Sox the 4-2 lead here in the top of the 9th inning. Mike Stanton yesterday made his 805th career appearance. That is 25th on baseball's all-time games pitched list. And he had a little trouble in that appearance. A couple of hits, 2 earned runs in 2/3 of an inning against Detroit. He's been some postseason pitcher, though, throughout his major league career, and it seems like he's in the postseason every year.
Doug Mirabelli has come into the on-deck circle. Apparently he's going to hit for Daubach. Here comes Mirabelli. Daubach was 0 for 3 tonight. Did hit the ball hard a couple of times. So it'll be Mirabelli and then Nixon. Mirabelli hitting .221, 5 homers and 11 runs batted in. Doug is 0 for 2 this year as a pinch hitter. Ball 1. We're starting to recap the scoring for those of you who joined us late. Red Sox led 2-0 after 7 after Hillenbrand's double that drove in Veritek. Then in the 8th, Nixon led off with a double. Hoffman tried to sacrifice him in the 3rd. He dropped out a bunt in front of the plate. The catcher Posada picked it up, threw wildly on a hop past the 3rd baseman Ventura for an error, and Nixon scored. The Yankees got 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th. An RBI double by Bernie Williams brought in Jeter, who had walked. A ground out by Ventura brought in Jason Giambi, who had an infield single. The Red Sox have scored a run here in the 9th on the triple by Veritek and single by Hillenbrand, and that's how we got to 4-2. The Red Sox with 1 out in the top of the 9th and a count of 1-0 on Mirabelli. Check swing. The ball gets away from Posada. He's had a miserable night. Hillenbrand to second. 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts for Posada, including a whiff with the tying run at 3rd and 2 outs in the 8th. A very costly throwing error. And this was a Ball that really should have been played a lot better than that.
Well, it looked like he tried to catch the ball instead of block the ball. Probably go as a wild pitch. That was a split-fingered fastball from Mike Stanton.
They scored at a wild pitch. Fastball high. Game summary is brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. Nothing gets you going like the smooth, mellow taste of Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Joe might need a coffee to stay awake here. 11 minutes past midnight. .30 pitch. Here's a strike.
Now the fellows will be right back for a 1:15 start tomorrow afternoon. Quick turnaround.
Well, fortunately, once it got started, it didn't rain again. That really would have been a problem. There was the talk of some additional rain coming during the game, but we haven't seen it. Close, but ball 4. Tough to tell where that one missed. A walk issued by Stanton, and here comes Nixon with 2 men on and 1 out.
Right fielder, Bob Nixon.
Nixon doubled and scored last inning. 4-2 Red Sox. The hits are 7-5. New York has made the only error of the game. Nixon lines one to center, and it is caught. Hillenbrand too far away from second, out at second. That's a bad base running play. And he's just shaking his head in disbelief. Red Sox get a run on Hillenbrand's second RBI of the night, and it's 4-2 as we go to the bottom of the 9th. Boston Red Sox baseball on Fox 25 is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, bringing people together with low fares. By your friendly New England Dodge dealers. Grab life by the horns. Go Dodge. By Budweiser, who salutes America's designated drivers. We all make a difference. By your New England Toyota dealer. What makes Toyota the best value? Ask someone who drives one. And by your New England Ford dealers. For the best selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs on the planet, visit your local New England Ford dealers or log on to newenglandford.com. Well, as usual, plenty of drama when the Red Sox and Yankees get together. An exciting game, some terrific starting pitching, clutch hits, fine defensive plays and miscues. And now Oogie Urbina trying to save it again. Dramatic finish against the Yankees on April 13th when Veritek threw out. Soriano trying to steal. And Urbina on a borderline pitch at bat struck out John Vanderwall 2 days later to preserve another one-run Red Sox win, 4-3 on Patriots Day. In 7 games this season against the Yankees, he's allowed just 5 hits. He came in and got Posada, big strikeout with the tying run at third in the 8th. Now he has a 2-run lead with which to work. And his first pitch of the 9th, a strike to Rondell White. 0 for 3. He had a hit taken away from him on a fine play by Hillenbrand in the hole on the left side in the 7th.